Where it gets difficult is, I think, a growing grey area.
Working relationship between all those agencies and coming up with something which is a convincing, well-researched and adequate document.
So you'd see me perhaps helping put the framework together, and then you actually fill in the gaps in it there from your side.
But at the same time, I can't frustrate you in not being able to put forward some of your political views.
Oh, I don't think you would.
Fucking officers again, right? They haven't done what we asked them to do. It doesn't matter whether it's right or wrong, at least it gets you through a meeting, right? And you get to your next meeting. You get to so tell them to go away and look at it again.
Hi, one of the things that sort of indelibly imprinted on my heart, really, and you might not have said it, but I think you did.
All about stories.
Which was exactly, which was Mike saying to me that we had to work very, very closely together, and that I would need to know what he was thinking before he thought it, and which left me in a state of kind of, ooh.
Well, it's a bit of a tension in the relationship. Perhaps in a minute we might come on to talk about the party politics of this, because I do see that as being a delicate matter.
You see, and that's why it's so important to have this very, very regular and intimate and informal contact. You can't pick that up if you just have a series of formal meetings about particular issues. So it's
services to the housing department, the budget committee, and he said, "Oh, I can't conceivably do what it says here without twice as many staff." Having that afternoon told me that he could. Now that is irritating beyond all measure.
Do you know where the roots of that mistake came from? I mean,
I think he just didn't. I think perhaps he might have misheard an opposition question, but he should be on the ball to opposition questions.
Was he aware, having said it, that he'd put his foot in?
He was afterwards.
So it's not as if we're actually making the decision, we're arguing the case.
Yeah.
Which at the end of the day is what you're doing as well. Yeah. So.
Except that, ultimately, I'm answerable to you, and you're answerable to the local people through their votes. If they don't like it, then they can vote you out, but they can never vote me out. You can sack me.
Yes.
We are in a very dynamic situation now, aren't we? So close to breaking through, being in the lower levels of performance. We know that local people are beginning to say how much Walsall is improved.
I'm quite confident now that...
Because we speak very frankly to each other and very openly, and therefore we do disagree. And when we disagree, there has to be someone who makes the decision. And that's worked out.
No pet lips afterwards. I think that's important.
It. I mean,
you frankly talk, and you may disagree. The decision's taken. You get on with the business. You know, I mean, the partnership is too important. What we're trying to achieve is far too important to get little things like that in the way. But the personal relationships wouldn't allow it anyway. It's how you build it up over a period of time.
Give an example. He's a Sunderland supporter. I'm a Newcastle supporter. Can you believe it? And we're friends. I mean, that more or less explains everything. And every Monday morning, if Newcastle's won, he gets some stick. You know, if Sunderland have won, well, I don't go in till 11 o'clock. But I mean, that's the sort of relationship.
Fortunately, we see eye to eye on the cricket.
And the difference between Roger and I is that he's got slightly more security of tenure than I have.
There's been less of a culture in Suffolk than I'm used to of messages going between senior officers and senior members. And so, to some degree...
Are you sure that's the case? Or I mean, are you sure you see that?
It's mostly about officers telling members what they're up to. Suffolk, and I'm used
you know, you get up to go over the parapet, and she is behind you, or sometimes even in front of you. That's really good. She's not there if she says she's not going to be there, so she's sort of reliable in that way as well.
What I absolutely know about the relationship between a chief officer and a sheriff, certainly me and any chief officer I might have, is if I didn't like them personally, I would have a great deal of trouble working with them.
That we actually have got reasonably complementary personalities and approaches to things. I tell Mark what to do and he does it. That works.
The decision about the actual strategic objective or the vision that you're heading for isn't an officer's, but it isn't the result of a single councillor or a single councillor group. Generally speaking, it's about some sort of shared consensus, and so I think the role of a good management team is to tease that out.
We see when you're experimenting with something, you don't actually know where the boundary is until you've knocked it.
I always remember, Shane, there's a little bit of Darabin in all of us. Whatever you told me to do, I just did.
I don't think so. This individual said, "Could I have your name again?" And I said, "Councillor Thornber, leader of the council." And she said, "What is a leader?"